This time, when Vegeta and Nappa landed on Earth, they'd be faced with stronger resistance than they were in the original. So much so that they wouldn't even bother wasting the Cybermen against these guys because they wouldn't accomplish anything. Vegeta would order Nappa to take care of them himself, who seemed a little less confident than in the original. By myself? At least according to his scouter, the Namekian and the Short One were both almost as strong as he was. One-on-one, sure, he could beat anyone in this group, but against all of them, he didn't like his chances. Yes, by yourself, what's the matter? Don't tell me you're scared. Vegeta seemed a little amused by this turn of events. Of course not, it's nothing. Nappa would lunge forward at Chaozu. He figured if he could pick off the weaker ones first, he could then focus on the stronger two, which would be his best shot at winning. As he attempted to punch Chaozu, however, he felt his movement slow down. See, Chaozu's telekinesis isn't that effective against people significantly stronger than him, but it was enough to slow him down enough for Chaozu to dodge the attack. Nappa then had to duck to avoid a blow from Piccolo. He'd land a kick on Tien, but was unable to capitalize. He was kicked in the back by Krillin, knocking him to the ground. Nappa would throw Krillin off of him, attempting to kick the monk, but he turned into a bat at the last second, evading it and then turning back into his human form, kicking him in the face. Nappa would resort to his volcanic explosion attack, throwing everyone backwards, injuring Tien, who'd attempted to shield Chaozu. Tien was alive, but he was covered in scrapes and bruises from the debris thrown up by the explosion. Krillin, who'd been hit point blank, was burned quite badly, but he seemed to be healing quickly thanks to his vampiric regeneration abilities. He would be okay in a few minutes. Piccolo and Gohan were both more or less fine, they'd gotten out the way in time. Vegeta rolled his eyes watching this display. For a Saiyan warrior to resort to such a cheap tactic, why, it was shameful. Gohan would lunge forward, enraged at seeing Tien and Krillin injured. His energy almost doubled as he kicked Nappa hard enough to send him flying into the air. Piccolo would take the opportunity flying past Nappa and kicking him to the ground before firing a full power Mako Sen, injuring the Saiyan, but not killing him. Vegeta turned his attention to the pile of rubble just as Nappa dragged himself to his feet. This doesn't seem to be going very well for you, Nappa. The largest Saiyan dragged himself to his feet, getting ready to fight, but Vegeta simply raised his hand. I think I'm done watching you embarrass yourself. No, I can still fight, Nappa argued before feeling something whiz past his head, an energy beam fired by Vegeta singed the ground next to him, a warning shot. You are done, Vegeta stated with authority before lowering his hand. You've proven yourself thoroughly incapable of beating these people, so I'll have to do it myself. You're wrong, I'm not done, not by a long shot. Nappa would take off running towards the group, only to be shot in the back by another energy wave from Vegeta, tearing through his chest, killing the largest Saiyan. Vegeta had no use for a weakling who couldn't follow orders. Absolutely useless. Vegeta would step forward, and the group finally got an idea of his strength. He was stronger than every single one of them put together. Do you really think we can beat him? Gohan didn't sound convinced. We don't need to. Krillin got back to his feet. We just need to hold the line until Goku and Yamcha get here. Interesting. You think the 8 of these people will make a difference? Vegeta didn't exactly look worried, but this could be interesting. Tell me, is one of those 2 Kakarot? As in the original, he agreed to wait an hour for Goku to arrive. During this time, the other fighters would discuss a contingency plan, what to do if they didn't get there on time. Well, me and Krillin might be able to keep him busy for a while, but we'll need them to win this. We heal faster than you 3, so you can just support us from the sidelines. Make all the plans you want. It's not going to matter. The difference between us is too great for any strategy to bridge. Their time was about up, and too fast for any of them to see, Vegeta rushed forward, thrusting his hand through Tien's back. Tien fell to the ground, they couldn't even tell if he was alive or not. Gohan would once again become enraged. He hit Vegeta in the jaw, really taking him off guard. He hadn't expected the kid to be this strong. Gohan would land a series of blows on his stomach before following it up with a Masenko. Krillin, Piccolo, and Chaozu were all shocked to see that from the young boy, but as the smoke cleared, it was obvious that Vegeta was unharmed, aside from a crack in his shoulder pad. Powerful for a brat, aren't you? Vegeta flew forward, grabbing Gohan by the throat. Krillin and Piccolo both called upon the power of darkness, powering up to the max and attacking Vegeta together, although he evaded both attacks without even dropping Gohan. If you want to save him, you're gonna need to try harder than that. He'd tilt his head to the side to avoid a punch from Krillin, before jumping to avoid a kick from Piccolo. How long does he have, do you think? Minutes? Seconds? Tien regained consciousness, attempting to stand only to fall again. He was pretty sure he was bleeding to death. Tien, you need to rest! Chaozu just wanted him to stay down, and if he was smart, he'd listen. Rest isn't gonna fix this. I think my number's pretty much up anyway. You don't know that, just stay down. Tien looked up at the fight where Vegeta was trying to strangle Gohan, and the other two couldn't even seem to stop him. You're right, I need rest. Tien outstretched his hand, channeling all the energy he had left into one final tri-beam. This would probably kill him, but he had to try. Seeing what Tien was doing, Chaozu used his telekinesis, freezing Vegeta for only a second, but it was enough for Piccolo to land a punch which caused him to drop Gohan. Krillin grabbed the boy and flew out of the way just as the yellow beam of energy slammed into Vegeta. Surely that has to do something. Vegeta would emerge from the smoke. He didn't exactly look injured, more annoyed. He'd blocked the attack with his hand, but it had hurt a little bit. Any ideas, Piccolo? I've got something that should buy us some time at least. This only boosts my physical strength though, my energy is about the same. Piccolo focused his energy before beginning to grow taller, transforming into his super giant Namekian form. He'd lunged forward, making a grab for Vegeta, who evaded the attack. Did you actually think size would increase your chance of winning? Pathetic! Vegeta flew forward, punching Piccolo in the face, which caused him to stumble back slightly, though he recovered fairly quickly and shot a mouth blast at Vegeta. The prince caught the blast with his hand and threw it into a nearby mountain. You've got some interesting techniques, Namekian, but it's not enough to beat me. There was one thing this form did for Piccolo. He was more durable, purely due to being bigger. While he wasn't strong enough to hurt Vegeta, he was at least enough to keep him busy. The others would try their best to assist, but they honestly weren't much of a factor. Vegeta was simply too strong. He'd barely taken any damage this entire time. He'd evade a punch from Giant Piccolo, running along his arm before blasting him in the eyes with a ki blast, causing the Namekian to stumble backwards. He followed this up with a kick that tore straight through Piccolo's chest. Gohan, Krillin, and Chaozu had to run out of the way as Piccolo fell to the ground before returning to his normal size. On the lookout, Kami felt his life begin to slip away, and as Piccolo succumbed to his injuries, Kami began to fade away. Once again, Gohan was enraged by the sight of his loved ones being injured, but this time, Vegeta saw it coming. He stepped to the side when Gohan charged, before hitting him in the back of the neck, knocking him unconscious. See, he'd spotted the pattern now. This kid got angry when you hurt his friends. He'd gotten angry when Nappa had hurt Tien before, and he'd gotten angry when he'd hurt Tien. You're dropping like flies. Which one of you is next, I wonder? He'd step forward, though he'd find his movement slowed as Chaozu struggled to hold him in place. It didn't work too well, however, the power difference was just too wide. But it slowed him down enough for Krillin to cast a spell, his Vampiric Drain. The red energy enveloped Vegeta, beginning to drain his energy. Unfortunately, it didn't do much good. Vegeta destroyed Chaozu with a flash strike which broke Krillin's focus, so Vegeta was able to break free of the spell, hitting Krillin hard in the stomach. Before he could finish them off, however, two new fights arrived, one which he assumed to be Goku based on his hair. Good timing, your friends here seem to be running on empty. Well, only one of your friends is left, but your son is alive. Goku would give Krillin the last senzu bean, not giving any to Gohan this time because he was unconscious and couldn't eat it. He'd then turn his attention to Vegeta, challenging him to a one-on-one fight, though he insisted on fighting somewhere else. What about him? Vegeta pointed to Yamcha. He's not going to get involved, unless you try something underhanded. As if I need that to beat you. Alright, you two, come on. Vegeta would take off, motioning for Goku and Yamcha to follow him. Krillin decided the best thing for him to do would be to take Gohan back to Chi-Chi, and then if the fight was still going on, come back to help them. The fight between Goku and Vegeta is fairly similar to how it goes in the original, though Goku has a slight edge since Vegeta was a little worn out from fighting everyone before. This means Vegeta tries to blow up the planet a little earlier than the original, and like in the original, Goku manages to overpower him with the Kaioken Kamehameha. So he uses the Great Ape form. Goku doesn't stand a chance against him like this, it's all he can do to evade him, but he'd keep him busy. This is when Yamcha decides to step in. He'd raise his hands towards the sky, preparing the Spirit Bomb. Since Vegeta was focused on Goku, he didn't notice Yamcha charging the attack. Krillin had flown as fast as he could and brought Gohan home, and by this time he'd set off back to the fight. The scene had gotten even stronger since he left. I know he got here pretty quickly, but remember, one of the powers that comes with being a vampire is enhanced speed. Goku would dart around from place to place as if he was running away from Vegeta, though he wasn't actually fast enough. Vegeta grabbed Goku, crushing his lungs, but through the pain, Goku fired a blast of energy towards his eyes, causing Vegeta to drop it. Yamcha seized the opportunity to fire the Spirit Bomb. Vegeta turned to see the ball of energy heading towards him, evading it, before turning his attention to the former bandit. With a simple flick of his wrist, however, the Spirit Bomb looped back around, hitting Vegeta in the back. Pain rushed through his body. He didn't understand how this was possible. Where had he gotten this much energy? There was no way he should be able to even hurt him in his Great Ape form. The attack caused him to fall forward onto his face. He was down for a while, long enough for them to think they'd won, but he'd somehow drag himself to his feet before rounding on Yamcha. He'd rush towards him, but froze in midair as he felt something cut him from behind. Krillin had made it back just in time. Vegeta shrunk back to his normal size, injured but alive, and still capable of fighting even if he was weaker. Yamcha would use Kaioken, rushing forward and hitting Vegeta in the stomach. The fight was fairly even. If anything, Vegeta seemed to be losing. But if this was like what Kakarot had used, then he just had to wait it out. The bandit would run out of energy soon. Yamcha would hit Vegeta with a flurry of blows and then followed up with his Wolf Fang fist. The Saiyan fell to the floor with a dull thud. Injured, but still capable of standing. By now though, Yamcha was pretty much at his limit. He was never as good at Kaioken as Goku was, though Vegeta wasn't in any better shape. Right now, Krillin could probably finish him off, and he was ready to do just that until Goku asked him not to. Krillin wasn't exactly happy about that. Was he hoping Vegeta would have a change of heart like Piccolo had? Krillin doubted he would. Ultimately, Krillin decided to comply, though he probably wouldn't if Goku had said it was because he wanted to fight him again. Vegeta would drag himself to his ship and take off, already plotting his next move. Once Yamcha had recovered, Krillin would carry Goku to safety. The threat had passed for now, but Piccolo had been killed, and they had no Dragon Balls. A revelation of Piccolo being an Namekian had given an idea though. Perhaps, if they could find Piccolo's home planet, they'd have Dragon Balls they could use. That seems like a good place to stop for now. So despite being stronger here, they only just managed to scrape through the fight with Vegeta. Next time they'll be headed to Namek. How will things change with Yamcha being stronger and Krillin being a vampire? Leave a comment and let me know what you thought of this part, or just comment anything, I always enjoy reading them. Like or subscribe if you want, but that's totally up to you. Anyway, that's all for now. Have a good day.